All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Today, we have Aastha Saumya. She is from Bangalore, and those who have been in the nonprofit eco space, she was earlier part of Rocket Learning in the recruitment team and HR and people team. Currently, she is moved and now with Suvita. Suvita is another nonprofit part of the DC Development Consortium. Good to have you, Aastha, today on Get Shortlisted, Get Hired series of conversation with recruiter. People are joining from different locations, and the expectation from these conversation is hearing you more, understanding what gets us shortlisted and what gets hired. So how should we get hired? We have received a couple of questions, and we have bucket them in different categories. So we'll be just taking step by step, and then after say 25-30 minutes, once you respond to the existing question, we'll be taking one-on-one question from the people around. So yeah, welcome, Aastha.
Thank you so much, Mara, and pleasure to be here. I'll try to be as clear and concise as possible, and also looking forward to the questions.
Great. So the question that we have received are from, I'll just give you a summary to all those who are joining around. Also, what is something that we were going to discuss is one, there are a couple of questions around resume, uh, uh, ATS uses and how ATS and AI friendly sort of resume optimization. How did someone approach job search? What to do when recruiter ghost or when there are uncertainties around hiring process. There are people who are making transition. There are people who are starting career. So what happen when they start looking for career, and what sort of things they need to do when they start looking for transition? Is there any skill that you see is emerging? And there are questions around career gap, language, unique background, sector opportunities, how the sector is evolving, what sort of opportunities that are coming in, what sort of organizational process are there. And good to have you because your background also have been in the OD space along with the recruitment. So yeah, let's start with resume. So if someone want to get shortlisted, first thing they do is just apply, putting their resume forward. So how do you look at this? And if you want to highlight what is something that a recruiter look and how one can get shortlisted.
Okay. So I'll start from hygiene factors and then move to more advanced versions. No grammatical mistakes. Keep it clean. It should not have unnecessary spaces. If your experience is less than 10 years, then you cannot have 2 pages. You cannot have 2 pages of resume, right? It has to be 1 page. If it's one page, then be very, very.
Your voice is in between. We are just losing. So
You're losing me.
Yeah,
in between the voice, we are not able to. So I think microphone is little far. So seems
Okay. I'll just try to fix it. Am I better audible now? Maybe I'll be just closer and louder. So I was talking about ensuring that there are no grammatical mistakes. The CV should not have empty spaces, जो random दिखे. The third thing was that, if you have experience more than 10 years, then you can think of 2 page of resume or CV. If you have experience less than 10 years, skip it 1 page. ATS or not ATS, 1 page CV is it's just easier to go through. Too long CV, there's a good probability that the HRs are not going through it. Keep it relevant, right? Don't add information. Like first internship that you did and you have 5 years of experience does not make any sense, right? So even if you want to add relevant skills, experiences. So these are hygiene factors. Now for ATS friend, ensuring it is ATS friendly, don't add graphic, don't use Canva unnecessarily. What I mean by that is बहुत colorful करने की जरूरत नहीं. Keep it black and white. It should be relevant. The third thing that I would ensure is the CV should align with your experience. What I mean is, आपने बहुत dazzling CV बना दिया with amazing English, perfect. But when you show up for the interview, I see a gap. So that CV does not make any sense to me. Keep it simple, language simple, so that when you come for the interview, you can justify the CV. Okay, so that is very important. Gap between what you have mentioned in the CV and what you really show up with. I think one thing that really stands out when I am recruiting is if you put numbers. If you are applying for an HR role, how many people have you handled? If you have handled payroll, how many participants have you taken care of? So add numbers. If you are applying for an M&E role, right? Just put numbers. How big a program you have handled, fundraising, how much budget you handled, right? So all of that does add value, that gives the recruiter a sense that this person knows what they're talking about. Any domain, if you're applying for even admin jobs, right, you can add how many people have you had. So it's not specific to vertical, but I say that when applying, just add more numbers to it, gives you more credibility. If I have to choose between a CV which has numbers and a CV which is generic weight, I'll always give more weightage to a CV which has numbers. So yeah, I think these are a few things to be kept in mind. Maybe we can talk about more later.
Great. And some of the mistake that you often find in the resume, but you think we don't put that much attention to this, but very important for a recruiter. One you
Um,
already mentioned, which is grammatical
yeah,
mistakes.
yeah,
But if you can think of some, or maybe add while you're uh,
yeah.
adding to the next question. So जॉब सर्च करते हैं एंड अप्लाई करते हैं नाउ उसके बाद क्या करें कई बार होता है कि एक्नॉलेजमेंट नहीं आता है बहुत सारी संस्थाओं से या पता नहीं चलता है कि मेरा एप्लीकेशन के साथ क्या हुआ या कई बार इंटरव्यू हो गए बट उसके बाद में टाइम लग रहा है फीडबैक एक्शनेबल नहीं मिल रहा तो ऐसी सिचुएशंस को कैसे देखा जाए
आई थिंक हम सब ने शायद ये एक्सपीरियंस किया है कभी ना कभी. और ये सेक्टर एग्नोस्टिक है. इट्स नॉट स्पेसिफिक टू नॉन प्रॉफिट्स. फॉर प्रॉफिट्स में भी सिमिलर ही सिचुएशन. पहली चीज जो हमें समझनी पड़ेगी कि ये इट्स नॉट अ फंक्शन ऑफ यू और आपकी क्वालिफिकेशंस या आपके बारे में. इट्स अ फंक्शन ऑफ बैंडविड्थ. Even if the people team or the HR team of the organization wants to get back, के पास बैंडविड्थ बहुत बार नहीं होता. बहुत बार एटीएस उतने अच्छे से सेटअप नहीं होता कि वो सारे रिजेक्शंस भेज सके या सबको अपडेट्स दे सके. सो इट्स नॉट अबाउट individual application. It's more about the bandwidth of the organization or the team. So please don't take it personally if you do not get a response. Um, Surely there are better ways. Number one is follow up. But I've also experienced this, that at times someone follows up after every 2 3 days. Now that becomes a little annoying for the people and culture team or the HR team because of the sheer bandwidth they are handling, right? So don't do that. Be patient. This is a good time to follow up क्योंकि बहुत बार होता है कि someone is on leave, all operational issues हो सकते हैं. So 2 weeks post the application or post the first conversation, you can check in that you can mail जिस mail ID से आपकी communication हो रही थी. Try avoiding calls because if you get a number of the HR or किसी team member का, please don't call because uh, might create some level of annoyance because everyone is human, right? हमें ये समझना पड़ेगा कि एचआर भी ह्यूमन है, वो भी किसी चीज से अनॉय हो सकते हैं, राइट? सो नॉट पुश टू मच. द राइट वे इज 2 weeks 14 days के बाद you nudge, you remind them that this happened and I want a feedback. That's the right way. उसके बाद भी अगर नहीं मिल रहा है, maybe reach out to the team members on LinkedIn because possibly the careers ID is full, overwhelmed, they are not able to go through it. So maybe LinkedIn could be another way. Suppose that if you are not getting, just accept that maybe the application is not moving forward. So should it's okay. Just say that I'm still looking forward to hearing from you, but it's okay. I'm just moving on. So the best practice would be being patient, waiting for 2 weeks, and then nudging. Even if you don't get back follow up on LinkedIn, but then after that, maybe it's time to just stop following up and move on to a different opportunity.
There are a couple of questions around assessment, like what is the pre-hire assessment, say gorilla assessment, yeah, what is the organization try to do with this assessment or maybe a long assignment that people get during the hiring process? So what is your thought? Why do you think they're important? And during interviews, there are foundational questions. So if you can add what sort of foundational questions one should go through before they get an interview. And there is one question keep on popping up is why should I hire you is often asked, or why say Rocket Learning or Suvita. So if you're hiring for Suvita, so why do you want to join Suvita? So that sort of questions, why do you ask, and what should be the general response that a candidate should prepare?
Got it. So the first part, assessments or assignments. I'll start with something like Test Gorilla, जो कि quantity पे देखता है, not so much or quality. So that's an elimination, right? If there are too many applications and we do not have time to go through all the CVs or all the applications, the best way to eliminate is give a few critical thinking questions, give a few problem solving questions, maybe communications, because these are the competencies the organization might be looking for. And then based on this, it's easiest way to eliminate. Generally, the cutoff for these are not very high, not very low. So average, maybe 60 to 70% that people are looking at, because we also understand that someone might not these are again at the end of the day tests, right? Someone might not do exceptionally here, but can be a very good candidate. So the cutoff is not kept very high. We keep it general average 60 to 70%. We understand this is elimination. Now, more detailed. So don't expect that, oh, मेरा 100% नहीं हुआ, then I'll not be selected. It's not like that. It's a very average practice that organizations. The second part is the assessment or the assignment, which is a longer. Maybe you are requested to create a system or a process. So those, and because I've also designed a few, when I am designing it, the thought process is how does this person think? किसी प्रॉब्लम को वो कितना ब्रेक डाउन कर सकते हैं, क्या वो एक्चुअल रूट कॉज एनालिसिस कर रहे हैं या नहीं, और इज इट जस्ट कॉपी पेस्टेड फ्रॉम चैट जीपीटी, क्या ओरिजिनल थिंकिंग है. नाउ वी कैन expect a candidate not to use AI, right? It's failed. It's completely wrong that the person should not use AI. The thought process is how does this person use AI to build something? So it uses AI as a collaborator, not just copy paste from the AI. So that's the mindset the candidate should be using. That it's not that I'll not use AI, but it is also that how do I use AI to the best of my capacity, and then ensure that I create something that lasts long. So mostly कोई problem solve करना होता है या कुछ process create करना होता है या कोई project idea होता है, right? So it is how this person builds. So a lot of design thinking, if I have to name a competency, it's design thinking that people are looking for, and structured thinking.
Great. Also, the next question was around interview skills. Why should I hire you, or why this particular org? So,
Mala, I think that उसके पहले need to do a very good work. What I would do if I'm applying for an organization, but what I do is know the organization in and out. Not just go through their website, that's like the basic thing. Go through their LinkedIn, see the post of their CEOs, COOs, senior team members, a few posts of their HRs, a few posts of their team members, to understand what this organization is exactly doing, what's happening. Go through their value pages. One of my favorite question is asked about, how much do you know about this organization's value? And it says a lot how much the person has read, researched. And what I really, and most of the organization really look into a candidate is how much effort they put to come before they come for an interview, right? So before you sit for an interview, understand that organization very well. Not just that वो क्या करते हैं, but what's happening in the back end. क्या उन्होंने कुछ लॉन्च किया है रिसेंटली, व्हाट कुछ रिसेंट अचीवमेंट है, व्हाट they are talking about, all of that. And then one version that I fit in this organization. Eventually, it boils down to what value you bring to the organization, right? So, for example, I come from a very diverse background, right? I come from law, then I studied psychology, and then OD, right? My story is that I can handle these three things together. I can handle compliances, I can handle um, engagement or industrial psychology, and I can also handle OD, right? So what's your story? What do you bring to the table? Different story through this. मैं ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में क्या ऐड कर सकता हूँ या कर सकती हूँ, राइट? इफ यू आर एबल टू कम्युनिकेट दैट वेल, I think you'll not have to prepare anything on key exactly how, why should we hire you and why Suvita or why Rocket Learning. So just understand and then create your own version that where can you fit in. आपके लाइफ के एक्सपीरियंसेस कैसे ऐड ऑन करते हैं. तो अगर आप we were having people from not just tier 1 towns, tier 2 town के भी, सागर से someone is joining. So how I would create my story is कि मैंने small towns में ये issues देखे हैं, मैंने ये issues पे research किया है, and this is what my experiences are, and this is what I bring to the table, especially in development sector, right? It's more about experience, आपने क्या observe किया है, right? So I think experience add, ये experience इस organization में value कैसे add करता है would help you answer this question well. And your real stories, I think it adds brownie points for sure.
Thanks, Soumya. Soumya, next question is around, say there are folks who are just starting career. So when someone is fresher, what is something that you look while shortlisting them or hiring? And second, type of people who are transitioning, say someone from CSR, someone from IT, or someone from consulting background, or someone from tech background to social sector, they're coming. So when they transition, what is something that you look while shortlisting or while hiring them?
Right. So for freshers, one thing that organizations are looking for now is AI enabled for sure, right? It is a reality and we have to accept it. Now, you don't have to be an AI expert, but basics you should know. हर किसी का basic version अलग हो सकता है, but then have some understanding of AI if you are a fresher. If you are, let's say, I don't know, applying for a finance fresher job, then you should know what are the tools being used. That level of understanding needs to be there. Is obviously how quick learner you are, right? Matlab, in most of the non-profits, you are expected to do multiple things. It's just not that, oh, I specialize in one thing, so I will be doing that. That you pick up a few things. The more things that you can handle, the better it is all the time. The more versatile you are, the better it is, right? So, quick learner, someone who's versatile, adaptive, flexible is important. If I find a fresher who is very set in their ways, has very strong opinion about right or wrong, I think that puts me off. And then it feels that this person might not be able to adapt well to the organization because हर organization अलग तरीके से काम करता है, वहाँ की culture अलग होती है. So you might have to also unlearn and then learn things. So yeah, I think my answer is flexibility. Person should be adaptive, AI enabled, and one thing that I personally see is how collaborative they are, because you will not be expected to work alone, right? You'll be working with a team or for a team, and you might be very good as an individual contributor. team setup, how do you show up? Are you too arrogant? Are you listening to others? So I think collaboration is one skill that organizations also look for when hiring for freshers. But for that matter, I think any role, collaboration is one skill that organizations are always looking for.
Thanks. There are other questions. Say you mentioned AI enabled or AI skills. Generally, what do you mean? What sort of skill you look when we say AI skill hona chahiye, yeah, understanding around AI tools, etc. So generally, what is something that you look?
Anand, आपके डोमेन में what are the AI tools that are being used? For example, you are a recruiter. Recruitment vertical में, recruitment domain में, what are a few AI tools that are being used? ATS could be one. Multiple. Could be also that now a lot of organizations are using platforms like Hireflix, right? So that also uses AI. So just update it and then just use YouTube for this. You don't have to do an extra course, right? Just being updated about your domain. अगर आप फील्ड पे फ्रंट लाइन टीम मेंबर हैं अगर राइट which is like a huge operation in the non-profit domain, right? काफी सारे टीम मेंबर्स होते हैं तो आपको अगर डॉक्यूमेंटेशन करना है तो क्या आप एआई यूज करके वो डॉक्यूमेंटेशन जो कि आपको पहले 2 दिन लगता था क्या आप 1 घंटे में कर सकते हो सो दैट्स वेरी बेसिक एक्सपेक्टेशन I think this will be every organization in the coming years. Like, because this is more efficient, right? कोई documentation हम लोग पहले 2 दिन में expect करते थे. Now the managers will be expecting it in at least half a day or 2-3 hours. So the basic updated कि मेरे domain में कौन से AI tools use हो रहे हैं. You don't have to do a certification अलग से. You can just rely on YouTube learning for this or LinkedIn learning for this. बट जस्ट बी अवेयर कि कौन से टूल्स यूज हो रहे हैं आपके स्पेसिफिक डोमेन.
Right. Got it. There is another question, and I think this is much, much more important. You do regional hirings in some cases, and sometimes we feel that we are aligned. Say you're hiring for a one role in Pune, Marathi is needed for that role. I am from Jaipur. I think I can do that role, but how do you look why the language is important? The second question is how does the employment gap if I am preparing for UPSC or maybe say have maternity break. So these sort of different career gaps. So how does a recruiter look at these two things? One language and the other is a career gap.
um okay, so language it's a region specific job, right? For example, you give the correct example where Marathi is needed, and then there are few states that are more language sensitive as compared to others, Maharashtra being an example. um you have all the skill sets, right? If you have to talk and you are in a partnership, government partnership kind of role, there's a good chance that you might fail because of the language barrier, right? It's reality. I will not sugarcoat. This is a reality. There might be some issues. One way to look at is that, and if it's an absolute necessity, there can be few roles where you can do well, but that's why I mentioned that Marathi is mandatory. Or you'll see a lot of JDs where language mandate is mentioned. So that's why the recruiters are specific that this is non-negotiable. It needs to be there. So just go through the JD very well. If it says Marathi is needed, there's no way around. Because if recruiters would do that, it's not absolutely needed. Because a lot of talent just is not able to apply because of that language gap. So then there isn't much we can do in that case. But if it's a situation where you know you don't have an exceptional English and the role is good, I don't think organizations are very fussy about it. अगर आप अपने बात को क्लियरली सामने वाले को समझा सकते हैं, तो इंग्लिश is not and should not be a reason you do not apply or you'll not be selected. So as a language gap, I don't think it's a problem, but then regions जहाँ पे language आ जाता है वहां पे it could be a problem. And then are curated that way most of the time. 90% of time I've seen that language mandate रहता है. So just be careful when you're applying. And I don't think otherwise it's a problem. And the second part, Mahara, where there is a gap.
Mhm.
One of my best hires have been people who have had career gaps. So I personally uh, don't feel that that should be an impediment in any way. Recruiters are not scoring की गैप है या नहीं है. इट इज मोर अबाउट हाउ यू टॉक अबाउट इट. अगर आप अपने गैप को लेके खुद ही अंडर कॉन्फिडेंट फील कर रहे हैं, देन इट वुड टेक अवे फ्रॉम. बट गैप को बहुत अच्छे से एक्सप्लेन कर पा रहे हैं, इफ यू आर एबल टू क्लियरली again explain how does this gap add value to me, my personality, and then how I will add value to the organization, brownie points for sure. For example, I took an interview a few years back. There was a 3 years gap. This woman was taking care of her child, and then she told me that, you know what, Astha, because in this gap, I learned multitasking because I was taking care of the child, taking care of my husband, taking care of the whole house. I learned multitasking. I learned resilience. And then she gave 2, 3 more reasons. Sound very fair to me. And she has been one of the best hires I have had. So if you are able to explain that gap well, it adds up to the interview and it gives brownie points. So don't be underconfident. Oh, ये gap. Just think about it. Reflect about it. आपसे मैंने क्या सीखा और जो मैंने सीखा वो अब इस ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में मैं किससे इम्प्लाई कर सकता हूँ, क्या कर सकती हूँ. If you are able to do that, I don't think gap should be an issue at all.
Great. Thank you. I have a last question and then we'll be opening for one-on-one questions. So those who have question, maybe you can start putting on chat, and then after this response will be taking directly with Asta. Asta, I have this question. You have been in ecosystem, I think almost 8 or 10 years now. How do you look at what is the trend you see on the opportunities? What sort of opportunities are emerging? Sort of trend that you see around hiring, which can help job seeker or people who are seeking transition?
That I get a lot is non-profit or development sector stable. It is absolutely stable, and at times I feel it is much stable than the for-profit to me. So if you're planning, or if that's a question ki is it stable, कहीं layoffs तो नहीं हो जाएंगे? As compared to for-profits, non-profits में layoff कम होते हैं. At least that's my understanding. The second part is that I think every vertical I see that there is growth. There are opportunities coming. I've seen a lot of, if you are testing your waters, आपको check करना है कि is this the right thing for you. If you're a fresher or maybe 1-2 साल की experience and then you want to test your waters, a lot of volunteership programs, a lot of fellowships are coming that will give you a transitioning segue to this. But I don't see that किसी भी एक वर्टिकल में अपॉर्चुनिटीज नहीं है. फ्रॉम टेक प्रोडक्ट to M&E, program, project management, state coordination, I do see a lot of opportunities coming up. If you are, Mala, you asked this, maybe I missed this question, कि अगर आपको transition करना है from a for-profit to a non-profit or a consulting role to, what you need to keep in mind is आपने जो skill sets किसी दूसरे इंडस्ट्री में अप्लाई किए हैं, हाउ डू यू अप्लाई दो स्किल सेट्स इन अ नॉन प्रॉफिट डोमेन. मोस्ट skill sets are fair transferable, right? Build something, how do you build for a non-profit, how do you solve a problem, right? I think finance, HR, these are uh, industry agnostic, right? कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता you're a non-profit or a for-profit, so you can easily transition. Yes, there is some level of biasness when you want to transition from a non-profit to for-profit, but I have seen people do that seamlessly as well, as far as again you can explain it well that what values you will bring in, and then if you can say that, oh, I brought this impact in a resource constrained environment, I can do much better when I have resources. So thought process when comes in, I think even move transition for a non-profit from non-profit to for profit is easy, but also really think through and then add those skill sets in your CV, and during the conversations as well, you have to be very clear on what value are you bringing in. So overall, just to summarize what I mentioned, I think overall there's a lot of opportunities coming in. LinkedIn is an amazing tool. Just follow pages, go through opportunities. Um, Even if you do not have a network, just talking more about it on or creating more engagement. I think Ground Zero is doing a lot of good work with the transition. There are a few other organizations who are doing this. Doing your own research, put some effort. And the transition will take some time. I won't say, oh, it will happen in a month or 2 months. It might take longer, but transitions are happening every day. I have examples every day. I'm sure, Mala, you have examples that you see every day. So I think it's not impossible. Give some effort and it will absolutely happen.
Thank you. Thank you, Asta. Asta, we'll just start with question directly. Yashodeep has a question, and I think very, very relevant because you're at Suvita, so you will relate with this question. Yashodeep's background is into networking and software sales, have completed cybersecurity course, and looking for opportunities in cybersecurity space, but don't know how to go through it, or maybe if you can guide what sort of opportunities he can think of. So yeah.
I think with DPDP coming in place, a lot is changing. What one way, Ashwadeep, is to go about is look at more tech-enabled nonprofits in India. If you're specifically looking in India, once you have a list of all the most enabled organization in India, try reaching out to their people and culture team, HR teams on LinkedIn, and then share your CVs. So it will a lot of time organizations do have opportunities, are looking for people, but it's not posted, right? So I am not asking you to cold email without doing due diligence, without your research. So reach out to maybe the 10, 15 most tech-enabled nonprofits in India. Reach out to their people and culture team. Maybe write down if you're looking for a um, senior position. Reach out to the founders as well, and then this could be the I feel this could be the optimal way to go about it. Keep an eye on LinkedIn, like enhance your network, follow pages, because a lot of time I do see a lot of cybersecurity opportunities coming up, but then you have to put some efforts in understanding what are the organizations doing and where you can add value. One way to go about it is also know the organization well, and this is like a tip for everyone. Know the organization very well, understand what they're doing, and maybe then solve a problem for them. What could they be facing or trying to solve? For example, an organization is scaling. You see that they have scaled really well in the last few years. So now operations would be a challenge for them. They're scaling this fast, right? So try to solve that in the cold mail that you write, right? Try to solve that maybe in a sentence, in a paragraph or two, how you look about it, right? So when the founder or the HR person sees that, oh, this person is already solving problems for us, brownie points, right? So these are a few ways to go about it. I think Yashwadeep is raising hands.
Yes, it's a follow-up question, I guess. Yashodeep, if you can unmute and then go ahead, and then we'll go with Jay. Yashodeep, you have raised hand if you have a follow-up question. Okay. Jay, if you can go next, please.
Okay. थैंक यू भैया। गुड इवनिंग ऑल ऑफ यू। बेसिकली मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि जब मैं जेडी वगैरह पढ़ता हूँ या फिर एनजीओस को देखता हूँ, तो अलग अलग टाइप का रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज रोल्स वहाँ पे दिखाई देता है, विजन और मिशन वहाँ पे दिखाई देता है। बट प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है कि सब एनजीओस के लिए, सब रोल्स के लिए अलग अलग सीवी बनाना पड़ता है। सो वेरी डिफिकल्ट जाता है कि कैसे उस सीवी को मैनेज किया जाए। ओवर टू यू।
Yeah, thanks, Jen. I think हम सबने ये प्रॉब्लम फेस किया है. A good way is कि maybe 2 या 3 मास्टर सीवी आप क्रिएट कर लीजिए, and then once you have created that, तो मैं अपना एग्जांपल देती हूँ. मैं एज एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल डेवलपर, मैं किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए लर्निंग एंड डेवलपमेंट कर सकती हूँ, मैं किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए कंप्लीट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन डेवलपमेंट कर सकती हूँ, मैं किसी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन के लिए चेंज मैनेजमेंट कर सकती हूँ विथ द स्किल्स दैट आई हैव नाउ. तो मैं इन 3 तरीके का सीवी क्रिएट कर लूंगी. एंड सी जब जीडी देखती हूँ क्लोज क्या आ रहा है. अब अगर मुझे दिख रहा है कि एचआर ऑपरेशंस है और मैं ओपन हूँ एचआर ऑपरेशंस करने के लिए, तो आई चेंज ओटी को थोड़ा ट्वीक करके मैं उसको एचआर ऑपरेशंस में बना दूंगी, या फिर स्किल सेट्स चेंज कर दूंगी, राइट. सो आई थिंक रियल प्रॉब्लम है, इसका कोई एक सिंगल सोल्यूशन नहीं है. एक इजी सोल्यूशन, आप 4 ऑप्शन बना के रख लीजिए एंड ट्वीकिंग दैट बेस्ड ऑन क्या रोल है. बट ऑल्सो जो डोंट कीप टू वेक, डोंट योरसेल्फ टू वेक. कोई क्लैरिटी नहीं है कि आप किन चीजों के लिए अप्लाई करना चाहते हैं, आपके स्किल सेट्स कहाँ हैं, तो इट माइट बी इवन डिफिकल्ट फॉर यू. तो ट्राई गो टाइप के सीवी में फिट इन. गोइंग बियॉन्ड दैट आपके लिए भी ट्रिकी हो सकता है. आई होप आई आंसर्ड.
या थैंक यू सो मच।
Thanks, eh? There are a few questions in the chat, and then we'll go with Vinit. Mohit asked, what skill do firms in impact consulting sector looks for? How can I build project at my level to get highlighted in impact consulting sector? If you need more context, Aastha, I can request Mohit to add on.
Yes, I'm just trying to open, see where exactly is it. Okay. So impact consulting is always trying to solve some or the other problem. So if you can try to find exactly what are they trying to solve, it could be anything. That is one way to get selected. Now, I think what I'm saying might seem too vague, but let's say an organization is trying to solve immunization. The first thing that you will have to do is understand what is the problem level of immunization in the state, in the country that you're looking for. What is the present state? What is the organization doing? Abhi organization kya kar raha hai, and what is the state? Blah, blah. Um, it could be anything. It could be ideas. It could be at operational level. It could be scaling. But then we try to fill between what the organization is doing and what the problem is. You naturally become wanted by the organization. So just try to find that gap and then solve for it. Maybe you can add, if I'm not able to answer the question completely, please feel free to add more context.
Nandika have a question. Often we talk about corporate to social sector transition, but say if one want to transition from social sector to corporate, how does that work? Or if you want to give some sort of insights uh, to this.
I'll give insights from my own interviews, honestly.
Uh,
Do you want to say something?
so I mean, you understood the question, or you want me to add on?
Yes. Understood. How do you look at transition from non-profit to for-profit? And it's slightly tougher. I would not say it is the other way, but happens fairly well. Examples from my own interviews. Bias जो रहता है, that is that non-profits do not work as much as for-profits. And then someone working at non-profit might not be as productive as someone at for-profit. I think when you talk openly about it and say that, you know what, I understand that this bias exists, and here is what is not true. So, I have created this impact. Let's say I've scaled an organization from X number to X number. You talk about numbers, and then you say that um, if I can do this in a resource constrained environment, I can do this better in an environment where I get those resources. So also to talk about real impact, that these are, not something vague that I'm talking about. This have this has happened, and then you move along. Like this, these are the skill sets that I have. This is what I can replicate. So more skill sets, talk about more impact, talk about the processes that you have worked on, and not don't keep it vague. If you keep it vague, it will be a fair no. But if you give people concrete reasons to hire you, give them or show impact, I think people are fairly open. And at least I have also seen people prefer people who have worked in impact sector because they know they have worked in resource constrained environment. So, and even this has come in one of my interviews when I was transitioning, and one of the founders said that why we really shortlisted you was because I understand nonprofits have budget constraints. So if you have done this well, you can do this much better when we give you more resources.
Thanks. Aastha, Wasip have a question, but Vinith, if you want to go, I think yours and Wasip's question is almost similar. So if you want to unmute and go ahead, please ask.
Thank you. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you, Saumya. Am I audible to everyone? Thank you. And thank you, Smriti. I had a first AMA with Smriti earlier. Now, the point is, मेरा concern मैं थोड़ा सा easily हिंदी में बात करूँगा. I have graduated from. अच्छा, मैं थोड़ा सा डिटेल बताऊँ अपने बारे में. Thank you. मैं ज्योग्राफी ऑनर्स हूँ दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी से. By schooling, I am an Avodian. I'm tech from BIT Misra. And unfortunately, I moved into the geospatial industry. And my basics instinct, that basics intellectual mindset is for social work. And somewhere something is going in. Ultimately I have to be in because my mindset is that no, I have to go for the social work earlier. I have given 1 month for tsunami relief camp in my graduation time. But now the point is, मैंने अभी तक जितने भी डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट किए हैं वो इसरो के हैं या सैक स्पेस एप्लीकेशन सेंटर्स के हैं, एंड दैट्स ऑल प्रोजेक्ट्स ऑन डेवलपमेंट प्रोजेक्ट्स, मे बी अर्बन, मे बी रूरल, मे बी डिस्ट्रिक्ट. एंड लास्ट टाइम मैंने स्मृति से ही पूछा था कि आप मुझे इसमें कैसे कैसे कैरियर ट्रांजिशन करना है, क्योंकि मैं रिसर्च में भी रहा हूँ, मैं एकेडमिक्स में भी रहा हूँ, और अभी मैं कंसल्टेंट के रूप में कुछ एनजीओ के साथ, कुछ प्राइवेट कंपनीज के साथ, और मैंने अपने भी स्टार्टअप लॉन्च किए थे. तो वो कोविड के समय काफी चीजें उथल पुथल हो गई, तो सारे इन्वेस्टमेंट जो सेविंग थी वो निकल गए. अब रीजन ये है कि मैं चाहता हूँ कि नहीं, अब मुझे कैरियर को ज्यादा इधर खींचना नहीं करनी है. मुझे एक सॉलिड और एक अच्छी जहाँ जॉब सेटिस्फैक्शन हो चुकी है, क्योंकि जॉब सेटिस्फैक्शन आपको एक सोशल डेवलपमेंट फील्ड में ही हो सकता है, क्योंकि आई कैन बी गुड फॉर द टीम मैनेजमेंट, आई कैन गुड फॉर द ऑपरेशन, आई कैन बी गुड फॉर द ग्रोथ पर्सनालिटी और मार्केटिंग ब्रांडिंग एंड ऑल. क्योंकि अभी कुछ कंसल्टेंट हैं जिनके कुछ पर्सन है जिनके लिए मैं सारे वर्क बुक कर रहा हूँ, चाहे वो एडटेक इंडस्ट्री हो, चाहे जैसे कि मैं यूनिवर्सिटी में था, तो मैं ऑलमोस्ट 4 ईयर आई वाज फॉर यूनिवर्सिटी कोऑर्डिनेटर फॉर इसरो एडुसेट प्रोग्राम. तो अब मेरा साथ क्या है कि मैं 15 साल का एक्सपीरियंस है आस्था में, राइट. अब मुझे चीजों को थोड़ा सा स्टिमुलेट करना है कि मैं किस, क्योंकि मुझे स्मृति मैम ने बोला था कि आप अपना प्रोफाइल देखिए और अप्लाई कीजिए एंड देन वी विल गाइड यू. बट मेरे साथ सिचुएशन ये हो रहा है कि मैं वेयर शुड आई स्टिक ऑन द पॉइंट, मुझे कहाँ पे जाना चाहिए, क्योंकि मैं एजुकेशन में भी रह चुका हूँ, मैं सोशल डेवलपमेंट में बेसिक में उसमें इंटरेस्टेड हूँ, और पार्टिसिपेशन रहा है क्योंकि मैं ज्योग्राफी का स्टूडेंट रहा हूँ, बच्चों को ग्राउंड पे फील्ड पे बताया है, समझाया है, तो सर्वे का और इन चीजों का काफी ज्यादा शौक रहा है. तो अब थोड़ा सा सौम्या, यू आर इनटू द दिस फील्ड एंड महाला सर एंड स्मृति मैम, तो मुझे थोड़ा सा ये समझना है आप लोगों से कि मैं अगर चाहो तो मैं सीवी भी भेजूंगा, मुझे थोड़ा सा आपसे एक गाइडेंस चाहिए. ऑल तो कोई बात नहीं, 15 साल का एक्सपीरियंस से डजंट मैटर, जब सीखने के बारे में तो सीखना चाहिए. तो मैं ये चाहता हूँ आप मुझे थोड़ा सा रोड मैप बना के दो, क्योंकि मैं अभी कंसल्टेंट जॉब अभी मार्केट में इतना अच्छा चल नहीं रहा है पिछले 6 महीने 1 1.5 साल से. तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि थोड़ा सा एक फिक्स इनकम हो, तो सो दैट इन सब चीजों से निकला जा सके. तो मेरा कंसर्न यही है बस कि मैं अप्लाई तो कर दूं, मैं स्टेट कोऑर्डिनेटर के लिए अप्लाई कर सकता हूँ या डिस्ट्रिक्ट कोऑर्डिनेटर के लिए अप्लाई कर दूं, लेकिन मैं ऐसे अप्लाई करूं कि सीवी भी सॉलिड हो, शॉर्टलिस्टेड भी हो, एंड आई कैन क्रैक द इंटरव्यू एज वेल। क्या क्या चीजें चाहिए और थोड़ी चीजें मैं भी समझता हूँ क्योंकि मैं भी एज अ कंसल्टेंट वर्क कर रहा हूँ, तो थोड़ी बहुत कुछ आइडियाज मुझे भी है। और आप लोगों के सपोर्ट से मुझे थोड़ा सा ब्रश अप हो जाए, थोड़ा सा मैं स्ट्रीम लाइन हो जाऊं एज पर द डिमांड ऑफ द दिस सेगमेंट। सो दैट इज माय माय ऑनर वन
तो
क्वेश्चन।
लंबा
थैंक यू।
सवाल पूछ लिया आपने।
हाँ बहुत, क्योंकि देखो ये मैं काफी दिनों से थी।
आस्था,
तो
इफ यू वुड बी, हाँ
माला माला एक्चुअली इसलिए पूछा क्योंकि मैं तीसरा मीटिंग है और मुझे
हाँ।
जवाब ये मिलता है सर आप अप्लाई करो फिर मैं बात करूंगा, इसलिए मैंने आपको पर्सनल चैट किया। तो मैं एक्चुअली ये जाता आस्था में आई है, तो इनके साथ मुझे शॉर्टलिस्ट होना है, तो मुझे क्या क्या चीज मेरे अंदर क्या क्या चीजें ढूंढ रही है कि मुझे शॉर्टलिस्ट कर सके। थैंक यू, थैंक यू।
Sir, you want to add, thanks, Vinit. Yeah. And similar
Thanks,
question
Niji.
from Wasif also on corporate to non-profit transition. So, yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Viniji. I think it's a problem जो लोगों ने multiple चीजें की हैं. And it's a problem. Um, things to start with. One is जब आपके पास more than 10 years of experience है and you have not still found out what exactly to do. The CV factor could be what do you really enjoy doing? मतलब आप ये नहीं आपके पास कितने स्किल सेट्स हैं, एक्सपीरियंस भी आपके पास, एंड एनीथिंग मोर देन 10 इयर्स इज क्वाइट अ लॉट, राइट? तो एक्सपीरियंस आपके पास है. नाउ द क्वेश्चन इज आप क्या, आपको मजा किसमें आता है एंड व्हाट, आप किस चीज को और डीपली सीखना चाहिएगा. इट कुड बी स्टेट पार्टनरशिप्स, इट कुड बी प्रोग्राम मैनेजमेंट. थ्रू आप 5-6 चीजें हैं, स्किल सेट्स हैं जिसमें आप बहुत अच्छे हैं, एक्सेप्शनल हैं, और इसको आप और कंटिन्यू करना चाहिएगा. So then now the question is not कि let's find a job quickly. Question is कि मैं लंबे समय तक क्या कर सकता हूँ और क्या enjoy करूंगा और क्या really value add करूंगा. So maybe have a list of skill sets that you have. वो 20 हो सकते हैं, उसमें से 5 या 6 आप पिक कर लीजिए कि ये स्किल सेट्स मेरे हैं जो मुझे बहुत पसंद है. मैच दो स्किल सेट्स विद द अपॉर्चुनिटीज आउट देयर. तो अगर आप ऑपरेशंस में बहुत अच्छे हैं तो देन लुक फॉर मोर प्रोजेक्ट लीड और स्टेट लीड. अगर आपको डिजाइन करना है एज अ कंसल्टेंट, यू वांट टू डिजाइन प्रोग्राम्स, देन लुक एट सच अपॉर्चुनिटीज जहाँ पे प्रोग्राम डिजाइन पे काम हो रहा है. But before you apply, think through very clearly what are the skills that you have, and then what would you want to do for a long period of time, because now is not the time when हम लोग figure out करेंगे. And problem happens with me honestly, because again my things तो मैं बहुत बार struggle करती हूँ. But after a certain time it's not, there is no more time for experimenting. Try to find what you really enjoy and then map it with the opportunities out there. I know कि विनीत जी ये रोड मैप नहीं है, but this could be a first step, and then I'm sure Mahala team, and if needed I'm also there to support with the
Thank you, thank you,
step
thank you.
two.
Actually, I'm doing the same thing right now. I'm into mentorship and consulting. I'm doing the same part thing. I'm working with the same for like last 5 to 6 years. Because मैं कंसल्टेंट के रूप में हूँ तो मेंटरशिप पे मैं ज्यादा फोकस, प्रोग्राम मैनेजमेंट पे, ऑपरेशन पे ज्यादा फोकस करता हूँ. मैं उन्हीं चीजों को ढूंढ रहा हूँ, एंड दैट्स व्हाई आई सपोज टू अप्लाई फॉर स्टेट कोऑर्डिनेटर. वहाँ पे मैं कोऑर्डिनेट कर सकता हूँ प्रोग्राम
Right,
मैनेजमेंट पे.
right way.
लेकिन मुझे थोड़ा सा एक सपोर्ट चाहिए, एक एक कहता है ना कि एक हुक चाहिए मुझे आगे निकलने के लिए, जो मुझे महाराज जी से चाहिए. थैंक यू मैम.
Thanks. Asta, I'll just quickly read out question looking at the time. We have 8 minutes, so I'll read 2-3 question and then maybe you can respond in one go. देवेंद्र कह रहे हैं रिमोट रूरल एरिया से बिलोंग करता हूँ. मुझे एनजीओ में किस तरह का रोल मिल सकता है? थोड़ा इंग्लिश अच्छे से नहीं आता है, सो मे बी व्हाट सॉर्ट ऑफ रोल दैट यू थिंक ही माइट बी एलिजिबल. नेल And D'Souza says, I have been working in social development space since 8+ years as coordinator, facilitator, and researcher. Wanted to get in consulting. उसके लिए क्या करें? Jesse has, I'm into fundraising. I have experience doing proposal for assignment, development assignments, and appear interview as they get impressed, but not ready to pay. As also give work from home flexibility. I don't know how to navigate. So if these three, and then maybe there are two more questions. So yeah.
Mara, you might have to remind me about the second and third, but I'll start with the first one.
Yes.
अगर आप किसी रिमोट एरिया में हैं, ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड पंचायत से या वहाँ के जो जो लोकल ऑफिसर्स हैं कि कौन कौन से नॉन प्रॉफिट्स वहाँ पे काम कर रहे हैं. Once that is done, once that is clear, चेक विद देम कि ये जो जो लोग हैं वो कब आएंगे. जब वो आते हैं विजिट, और जनरली 1-2 महीने विजिट होता है, 2-3 महीने में विजिट होगा. जब भी विजिट होगा, ट्राई टू मीट देम एंड टेल देम कि ये मेरा सीवी है, एंड देन आई एम लुकिंग फॉर अपॉर्चुनिटीज. ये है कि मे बी लिंक्डइन इज नॉट द बेस्ट वे, तो आपको थोड़ा पर्सनल कनेक्ट क्रिएट करना पड़ेगा उन ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस के साथ, उन लोगों के साथ जो वहां पे काम करते हैं. शुड नॉट बी बैरियर, क्योंकि करते हैं वैसे लोग जो जमीन से जुड़े हुए हो और जो हमारी बातें, जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशन की बातें हैं वो कन्वे कर पाए. तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि इंग्लिश का प्रॉब्लम है. द फर्स्ट स्टेप जो आपको लेना पड़ेगा इसकी फिगर आउट कि वहां पे कौन से नॉन प्रॉफिट्स काम करते हैं. पंचायत ऑफिस में या फिर वहां के जो ब्लॉक ऑफिसेज हैं उसमें आपको पता चल जाएगा. जहां पे आप बात करिएगा तो 2-3 विजिट्स में यूल गेट टू नो. एक बार वो पता चल गया, फिर आप ये पता करिए कि अच्छा ये लोग कब आएंगे, कब जनरली आते हैं. ट्राई टू मीट विद देम. जस्ट कैरी एक सीवी का कॉपी मिल के आप उनको दे दीजिए, एंड अपॉर्चुनिटीज दे विल गेट बैक टू यू. I hope this answered. Mala, what was the second question? Sorry, I missed it.
Some of the good thing, I heard someone sent resumes through Blinkit to a couple of HRs. There are questions. I think looking at time, I'm not sure. But say someone asked, Safi asked the questions around Suvita's recruitment process. What sort of a role that you folks hire for? What is the process? What is the assessment that you do at Suvita's end, and what is something that you folks try to understand through that?
Honestly, so it's hiring is much more meticulous than I've seen in any other non-profits. I think the number of rounds थोड़े ज्यादा होते हैं. अगर आप specifically सुविधा की मैं बात करें, there is a very clean competency mapping. तो हर राउंड में हम एक कुछ level of competencies check कर रहे होते हैं. Also the overall process at Suvita is slower, और उसका reason यही है कि at every round बहुत meticulously check किया जाता है. Test build around, again, as I mentioned in the beginning, it is mostly elimination, क्योंकि बहुत ज्यादा applications होते हैं, और क्योंकि AI आगे है तो CVs को सीव करना बहुत टफ है. Everyone talks about them being amazing, तो CVs are maybe not the most reliable way. So then we rely on test or on technical parts. So I think at Suvita, what initially we are looking at is critical thinking, problem solving at the squirrel level, communication. We have a few 2 to 3 इंटरव्यू राउंड्स, जहाँ पे हर इंटरव्यू राउंड में कुछ कॉम्पिटेंसीज चेक की जाती हैं. Overall, we are looking for people who are quick to learn, are very adaptive. We are also we are expanding, and we are hiring. We have recently posted that we are hiring 4 heads. So with more heads coming, I am sure the team will increase. So we will be looking out for good talent. We are also looking for people who can build systems and long-lasting systems. So even let's say in my team, people and culture team, if you are someone जो कि operational problem solve कर सकते हैं, you are meticulous, because Suvita puts a lot of effort for documentation, for ensuring that things are in place. Honestly, even I am learning that very well at Suvita. So if you are meticulous, आप organization बहुत पसंद है, you are welcome to apply. You can send me your CV. We can have a look at it. So yeah, generally at Suvita, we are very meticulous. Go through the JD very well. We put a lot of time even to draft that JD. So if you have understood the JD well, half the war is won. Okay, so JD को बहुत clearly समझिए, understand what are we trying to solve, what might be the issues. I personally love it when people already come with the understanding कि हम लोग कहाँ struggle कर रहे हैं. And it's not very tough. If you have been in an industry for some time, you understand what's the progression. So I think just understand the organization really well and then appear or then apply for the job.
Thank you so much, Asta, and thank you so much, everyone. I think a couple of questions we are yet to respond, but looking at time, will encourage you to connect with Astha. I have said Astha's LinkedIn in the comments, so feel free to comment. Message Astha Network. Astha is currently again to share with you all. She is with Suvita as senior manager in people and culture team. And she's a great resource. She's approachable and among the great recruiters that we know in the ecosystem. So while she says sometimes it's a bandwidth, but we see that she is keep on supporting folks. So if you have follow-up question, just write to Asta over LinkedIn, and we hope that these conversations are helpful. And Asta, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation on Get Shortlisted, Get Hired. This conversation certainly will help the community and job seeker who are exploring career and transitioning to the social sector. Thank you so much for joining us
Thanks,
today.
Mara.
Thank you
Thanks
for
to the complete Ground Zero team and team here, all the participants. Please feel free to reach out. I'm pretty active. I'll try my best to help you, but if I don't get back quickly, it's okay. I'll just get back sometime soon.
thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone.